I'm going to the gym back. Why are you driving?
Assalamualaikum.
Free Palestine!
Hey, how are you? Good, how are you doing?
Alright, how things been?
I was away for a week, so a little bit refreshed.
Good. Yeah,
I'm heading off again next week. To Mildura, my partner's there. Spent a lot of time on the river. And then we go camping for a week in another location.
Free Palestine!
You need to kind of rejuvenate, yeah?
Free Gaza!
Are you having a break?
Free Palestine!
Okay. Probably better let people travel.
Yeah. We'll see. Let's hope I come back a bit more energized.
Okay. You can hold the fort over Christmas while everybody else is away.
Yeah, well that's
Free Palestine!
We'll see. Yeah. Gotta be ready today, yeah. Everybody's got their hydration. Ready for the hot weather. I don't think you'll be so okay.
It's very fake, don't worry. Happened to me 10 years ago on the
Free Palestine! From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free.
Freedom for Palestine! Freedom!
How are you?
Good, how are you? It's a bit hot for me today.
It's going to be a hot one, so that's why I picked a shady spot really quickly.
I thought I'd better stay in the shade.
Yeah, absolutely.
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine.
Free Gaza!
Free Gaza.
Free Jerusalem! One!
We are the people. We won't be silent. Stop the bombing now.
One!
We are the people. We won't be silent. Stop the bombing now.
One!
We are the people. We won't be silent. Stop the bombing now. We are the people. We won't be silent. Stop the bombing now. We are the people. We won't be silent.
Stop the bombing now!
We are the people. We won't be silent. Stop the bombing now. From now to Gaza, long live the Intifada. From now to Gaza, long live the Intifada. From now to Gaza, long live the Intifada. From now to Gaza, we live the Intifada. Shut it down!
Yeah, it's probably a good idea to not kneel too early. Where are the speakers? They're a bit overdue. Everybody's saying, "Where are you speaking today or not?"
Already have a lot? Already?
Yeah. Do you know anything about the actual police presence?
Yeah, part of the design was slightly happening in the city at the same time, so they could plan
Okay.
the whole city.
We were told that there was a group seen marching from Flinders to heading east with Israeli flags, Lebanese flags and Australian flags. So they're probably going to end up at Parliament?
Yeah, I'd imagine,
Whereas
yeah.
we're going this
We're
way.
going
Yeah, okay. Alright, staying out, well clear out of each other's way. Otherwise it would make for some good photos. Which we don't really want.
Stop the bombing now! Stop the bombing
I did very intensely. Okay.
They've got a good spot.
Yeah, we're gonna get a bit of shade.
It's in the shade.
Yeah. And live streaming.
Sarah.
Are you speaking?
No, I'm not.
You can speak, but just careful what you say.
She's one of the best speakers.
She is one of the best speakers. I thought I was running late. Anyway, it's kind of, yeah, the flag. Lots of people going, thank you. Really great,
nice,
really
yeah.
great that you're doing this. Hello from Sydney. Hello from Melbourne. So that's kind of, it's worthwhile keeping, and they can hear everything as well.
Yeah. You could probably mute it if you want to mute it.
What's that? I can mute it, can't you okay? You're holding out okay? You're getting sleep? I'm not good. I'm kind of waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning going, oh, well, I better get up and do some work now. You've got to be careful with that though.
Free Palestine!
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 Welcome everybody, thank you so very much for coming out today. Day 434, week 62. Congratulations to every single one of you on inspiration. Big round of applause, come on, well done everyone. I know it's dark and we struggle each day to get up, we struggle in this colony with how we're policed, and you see the extraordinary policing action today. I know it's a struggle, but we need to continue to fight on and draw power and strength from our advocacy, our unity, and the strength and the integrity of our messaging and what it is we're here for, and that is the liberation, not just of Palestine, but of everyone. Draw strength from that, my friends. It's so important. Now, I want you to know that the police have designated today a special day. I forgot the name of it already in the 2 seconds I took me to get up here. What's it called? It's a designated area, so you need to be really careful. It's a designated area, they say, to protect us. I hope it is to protect us and not to protect anybody else, but I want you to understand what those obligations on us are. the police can search you today. The police can ask you to remove a face covering today. It's really important. It's really important. There's a reason for that. Who knows what it is? But last week we had Zionist agitators from within us. There are Zionists within us that are trying to besmirch the good name and good character of our movement. This is a movement of love, of inclusion, of everyone. Zionism is a movement of hate. Zionism is a movement of exclusivity. Zionism is a movement of racism. Zionism is a movement of exclusion. Zionism is a movement of genocide. Zionism is a movement where in a parliament they will debate the right to rape. Zionism is hate. If you want to do anything, police, go police them. Go police them. You won't have that trouble here. We're a movement of inclusion. We believe everybody belongs regardless of their race, their colour, their gender, how they identify, if they identify, whomever they are. We're a movement of love and inclusion, not hate. That's down the road. Shame on them. Now my friends, it's really hot today. We're going to march down to Lonsdale Street, down Lonsdale to Elizabeth, up Latrobe and back here. We're conscious, make sure you get some water. Don't overheat, don't overexhaust yourselves. We need to come out every week for Palestine. And I want you to draw on that courage of knowing that we're coming out every week, we're coming out together for a fight together. And don't give in to apathy, my friends. Don't give in to apathy. Importantly, as we acknowledge that we are on stolen land, that this always was and always will be Aboriginal land, that their fight is our fight, and that this colony, these lands were never ceded. That the fight for Indigenous solidarity, the fight for Indigenous rights, the fight for treaty on this land is the same fight as it is in Palestine, but also for every colonised people all over the world. This always was and always will be Aboriginal land. And importantly, my friends, don't stop talking about black rights here in Palestine, but don't forget the Congo and Sudan. Don't forget the Congo and Sudan. Imperialism at its worst, where coloured people are killing coloured people, won't even get the media's attention. Nobody cares. It's about imperialism and capitalism and resources, and shame on all of them. My friends, we're joined first up by one of our real fearsome activists, Ashikin, who was recently arrested for protesting the Land Forces Weapon Expo. She's a part of RMIT Students of Palestine. She organised the Gaza Solidarity Encampment, the student mass meeting on Palestine, and a successful campaign to kick out Albert out of the RMIT campus. Big round of applause, guys.
Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Assalamu alaikum. About 3 weeks ago, 6 officers carrying guns came banging on my door bright and early. When I asked to read their warrant, they told me they didn't need one. They even handcuffed me, and they took me to the police station to get charged. I didn't even get a chance to brush my teeth. I didn't have a sip of water. The first thing I did that day was get handcuffed and interrogated by the police, all for the crime of protesting a weapons expo. Shame! On September 11 this year, the Labor government spent taxpayer money to host the Land Forces Conference. For those of you who don't know, essentially it's a 3-day carnival for merchants of death. I'm talking weapons dealers, army officials and politicians, all so that they can mull over fancy lunches, brainstorm and sell new ways to kill. Shame! It was Boeing munition kits that were used to bomb Jabalia.
This Wednesday,
Remember the aid worker, Remy Francois? It was Elvis system drones that shot her down and killed her. Remember the white phosphorus? For those of you who don't know, white phosphorus burns from the top of your skin, it burns through the flesh, and it burns through bone. That was being rained down on Gaza. The company that makes it, BAE Systems, they make tanks that shoot out white phosphorus.
Shame!
All of these companies were attending land forces. Shame!
If you can make it.
And it was important for us as anti-war activists to take a stand against this and actually protest it. Around 89 arrests were made on the spot, but in the following weeks, police have arrested and charged more than 21 people in a series of home raids. The police are even targeting student activists who weren't even at land forces. Another RMIT Students for Palestine member was arrested the other week, but he wasn't even present at land forces. They picked out a random protester just from a video posted online, and they said it was him. Even though it was very clear they were completely different people, they had different colour hair, not the same person at all. And it seems pretty crazy on the face of it, but they've done this because he's the face of a lot of our videos during the Solidarity encampment. It's clear they've been trawling through our pages and finding any, even if non-existent, reason to double down on Palestine protesters. This is a blatant attack on civil liberties. We only have the right to demonstrate because of generations of protesters and the workers' movement who fought to preserve it. During World War I, hundreds were jailed in Australia for protesting and speaking out against the war. It matters that thousands backed them up and continued their movement. We cannot let repression win out and set a precedent for anti-war activists in the future. We've got to fight this now. We need to link up our fight with others who are being punished by the police. Climate activists have suffered serious repression too. The New South Wales government changed state laws just to crack down on climate protesters. Here in Victoria, 2 climate protesters were jailed for protesting climate inaction. Shame! Shame! Just a couple of weeks ago, more than 180 environmental protesters were arrested at a blockade of the world's biggest coal port in Newcastle, organised by Rising Tide. Shame! It's disgusting. They came in boats and they took protesters off their kayaks, took them onto the boats to be arrested and charged. And so, we're organising a joint forum with them on Tuesday evening at 6 p.m. The details are on our page. Everyone should come along to link up the struggle. And so a lot of us who have been arrested for protesting land forces, we will have our first court hearing on the 21st of January and others in February. We need you to sign our open letter, donate what you can, but most importantly, keep coming out to the Sunday rallies. This is the heart of our movement. If this stops, I don't know what would happen. These are the most important days for us. And so I want to ask a question. Are we going to sit by and watch our right to protest be stripped from us? No! Are we going to be intimidated? No! I said, are we going to be intimidated? No! Are we going to keep coming out every Sunday for Palestine? Yes! Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
The speaker's working, can you hear
Big
me?
round of applause, fans. You can well done, sister. Brilliant. Free, free Palestine!
Free, free
Come on,
Palestine!
everybody, some energy. Free Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
My friends, if you've ever marshalled before, please put your hand up, come to the back of the stage and help out. We need some marshals. Don't forget this is a designated zone today. You need to be careful, listen to police. Don't get sucked in by Zionists, yeah? Support our brethren, our siblings, with the Jews that are in solidarity with Palestine at the back. Absolutely. Yeah. So let's be clear, there are no two sides here. You're either on the side of genocide or you are opposed to genocide. And if you're opposed to genocide, you're on the right side of humanity, and you need to be here. And you need to be here each and every week. So thank you all, guys. Tonight, if you're free and you want to attend, Melbourne University, the crew there, Unimel for Palestine, is doing a graduation ceremony, the people's graduation, a council graduation for students. It's at 5:30 p.m., 6 p.m., Royal Exhibition Building. Today, 6 p.m. at the Royal Exhibition Building. So if you can make that, please do. Next up, as we are inspired by the liberation of the Syrian people as they overthrew a tyrannical dictator there, we're going to hear from Khaled, who's a Syrian artist from Latika, and he's here to speak to us about what's happening in Syria. Welcome, Khaled.
Hello everyone. I would like to acknowledge and give my respect to the traditional custodians of the lands we are gathered on today, the Wiradjuri and Woiwurrung people of the Kulin Nation. I salute the staunch leadership of First Nations elders and black activists leading the charge for a decolonized Australia so we can all one day live as equals here in Australia and the world. I salute every Indigenous resistance fighter everywhere and pay my respects to their martyrs. My name is Khaled Shammo. I'm an artist who was born here in Naarm, just in Carlton up there, but I grew up in Latakia, at Ladia, in Syria. My parents and I came back in 2011 after the Assad regime's deadly repression of peaceful protesters in our own neighborhood of Al-Sheikh Zahid. Today I am here speaking for the first time as a free Syrian. To celebrate the ousting of the criminal and fascist regime which has had its grips tight on the throat of every Syrian citizen for the last 54 years. The Assad regime has turned our country to a prison and a narco state and is responsible for the deaths of at least 500,000 Syrians and for displacing more than half the population of the country. Assad's dictatorship was the biggest barrier to Syrian freedom. Public enemy number one in Syria, Bashar al-Assad, has now fled to Russia, and we are breathing for the first time. We recognize the struggle for democracy and freedom in Syria continues. Israel initiated an intensive bombing campaign this week and is occupying more Syrian land. Israel's war on Syria is part of the same war it's waging on Palestine, Lebanon, and Iran, a war for regional supremacy. Our freedom against Israeli barbarism is tied together. A number of regional and global powers are also contesting for power in the post-Assad Syria. However, millions now have hope that a free Syria is possible. Any new Syrian government will face resistance until we get freedom. If Assad can be overthrown, then anything is possible. We have finally been able to turn the page. Our nightmare is over and our dream to live in dignity and respect can now begin to be realized through all of us Syrians working together united. As one of the songs of our revolution says, raise your head high, you are a free Syrian. ارفع راسك فوق انت سوري حر. ارفع راسك فوق انت سوري حر. Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
There is only one solution!
There is only one solution!
Intifada Revolution!
Intifada Revolution!
Thank you everyone for continuing to come out. Please let us see this through and see Palestine free within our lifetime. Thank you.
Thank you, Khaled. Now, my friends, two things can be true at the same time. I know there's a lot of people that are concerned about what's going to happen to Syria and the meddling of the West and Israel. Two things can be true at the same time. We can be happy with the overthrow of a tyranny, of a despotic, murderous dictator, and be worried about a future of what might look like. But there is hope. There is hope in the liberation of the Syrian people. There is hope in the release of those political prisoners, many of whom have been imprisoned for decades, and one Palestinian, as I know, for almost 5. There is hope in that. And as Khaled said, if Syria, the Assad regime can be overthrown, anyone can be overthrown. And we look forward to the day. We look forward to the day when the Israeli gulags are liberated and the Palestinians in those gulags walk free, as they did in Syria and Damascus. From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free!
Absolutely, my friends, Palestine will be free. Next up, we've got Tasneem Sammat, who's a Palestinian organiser and assistant lecturer at Monash University. She's a member of the Free Palestine Coalition, Naarm, and a unionist for Palestine, and a real powerhouse. You will have seen her at many of our actions. Big round of applause for Tasneem, everyone.
Thank you, Nasser. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nations, and pay my respects to elders past, present, emerging. Always was, always will be.
Aboriginal land!
Always was, always will be.
Aboriginal land!
I'd like to pay my respects to the Syrian families who've been reunited with their loved ones who've been released from the torture chambers, the concentration camps, the prisons that have been orchestrated by the modern Assadist regime. But I would also like to extend my respect and my solidarity to all the families and all the people in Syria, but also within the region, who now have to come to terms with the forced displacement of their loved ones. Because the reality is that for years people thought that these forcibly displaced people are incarcerated. They are in prison cells, and now they are coming to the truth of the matter that the Assad regime has murdered thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people. So this shame. And it did so through modern technology. And what I want to say is that such state technology, such state apparatus, militarized and police apparatus, does not distinguish between borders. The concentration camp in Gaza, or the Nazi concentration camp, or the concentration camp of Assad is a fixture and is a form of subjugation, incarceration and violence that is very similar whenever it shows up and whenever it is utilized. And that is why our solidarity is to those victimized by such modern forms of violence that only uphold not freedom, not democracy, not resistance. Such technologies are used to subjugate people and only uphold the interests of the ruling class, whether that ruling class is American, Russian, Syrian, or Zionist. For those of us who are committed to a revolutionary future for the world, we need to assert that every time that we see the downfall of such a tyrannical regime,
And we need to also see that for our context here being in a Western settler colony where the prisons and the police stations that surround us operate through similar machinery. And here it's manufactured consent. Here, the prisons are filled up by indigenous youth. This is purposeful. This is subjugation, very much a way to suppress the freedom fight of the Aboriginal people here. This week, we also saw other kinds of changes in the region. We saw within Palestine, people rising up against their own regime, similar to the Syrian people, but here, who's stepping on the neck of the Palestinians? Who we're talking about here is the Palestinian Authority. The Palestinian Authority murdered a resistance fighter from Jenin and also went on the attack against the people of Jenin who are fighting the Zionist occupation. So when we talk about solidarity, we need to be very clear that we're not simply having a very reductionist analysis, just talking about the Zionist soldier or the American soldier or military base. Actually, if that was the case, we would have been liberated long time ago. Who is standing on our necks, who is keeping us subjugated, is authorities like the Palestinian Authority that are being challenged in Jenin. Why? Because they have arms, they have resources, but those resources, they are acquiring, why? To keep the Palestinian people oppressed. They are not arming themselves to liberate the Palestinians. The people of Jenin are trying to acquire those assets for the freedom struggle, and they deserve solidarity. Gaza will not be liberated by taking up arms on their own. Gaza requires international solidarity, and that's where we come in. When we have a clear understanding of what's going on, we move towards sanctioning the Zionist state. The Zionist state today, here in this colony, is gaining aggressive support. And that is what we see with the police deployment here. That is what we see with the anti-Semitic scapegoating of our movement. That is not coincidental. That accelerates when the Zionist attack on the region also accelerates. This is a war offensive, and Australia is part of that war. When the US, via the Israeli army, bombs the resources now, the military resources of Syria, but also gains to acquire the oil of Syria, we can come out against that while being in solidarity with the Syrian people. We know that this is a time for American expansionism. They are trying to turn Gaza into real estate. They are trying to liberalize the Syrian economy so that the Syrian revolution does not succeed, so that they take all the resources of Syria, and they are doing that militarily like as though it is the 18th century. That's where we come in. We say there's an alternative to that revolutionary struggle. We will intervene, we will sanction Israel, and we will end the Zionist aggression. Free, free Palestine!
Big round of applause for the team, everyone! Wonderful, thank you so much, Christine. My friends, next up, a great honour. We're joined by Clementine Ford, who's a writer and a broadcaster living on the unceded lands of the Wurundjeri people, a huge supporter of our struggle. Give her a huge round of applause. Clementine Ford, everyone!
Hello everyone. It's an honour, as always, to be standing here on the unceded lands of the Wurundjeri people and to be joining in the struggle for the liberation of the Palestinian people. For 76 years, the illegal state of Israel has brutalised the people of Palestine. With the support of Western democracies and self-fancying civilised nations, white imperialism has ensured that Palestinians have been held under the iron grip of Western-powered Zionism concealing its crimes within a media that has rarely been honest about the truth behind the illegal state of Israel. But I don't need to tell anyone here the details of Israel's violence. We all know it. And if you didn't before, the last year has certainly made it impossible for any rational, morally minded person to not have had their view of Israel, a view carefully cultivated by and enforced by those same civilized Western nations and free media, completely upended. We've seen the destruction, we've seen the bodies, we've seen the children, some of them alive, many of them dead. We've seen the mothers of those babies screaming for them. We've seen their fathers frantically trying to pull them out from beneath collapsed buildings. We've seen so many people in the world turn away because they are either too afraid to disrupt the security of their own lives, their own employment, their own relationships, or because they're simply too indifferent. Their indifference enabled by decades of Western racism and colonialism and its grotesque appeal to white supremacists, closet or otherwise. And through all of the horror, the violence, the depraved, brutal actions of the US-funded state of Israel, to dehumanize the targets of their colonial oppression, the murder of children, mothers, fathers, people, poets, journalists, teachers, students, artists, books, entire family lines, we have also seen the immense power of Palestinians. Their resistance has mobilized millions of people across the world, rallying us to stand up against the forces of evil that shield themselves behind words like policy, freedom, and peace. We are the people, and there is nothing more powerful than a movement that will not rest. As a vocal ally to the Free Palestine movement, and as someone who is not afraid to say loudly and plainly, "Fuck Israel!" Over the last year, I've been told repeatedly by agitated Zionists that I shouldn't speak about things I know nothing about. That I've obviously never been to Israel, so I couldn't possibly have any idea what I'm saying. As if somehow there could be any scenario in which the slaughter of children would be made understandable to me. That it could be made acceptable. This insistence on proximity to brutality in order to have authority to speak against it is strange. I have never needed to live in 1940s Nazi Germany to know that the pursuit of Jews and the horrors of the Holocaust were wrong. But okay, let's just say I do stay in my lane for a moment. And I'm going to ask you to have a bit of faith and stay with me as I go there. My ancestral lineage takes me partly back to Scotland, and I'm just going to give you a little quick history lesson. A good part of my research lately has involved looking at the European witch trials, which started in the early 15th century and lasted for roughly 300 years, the most intense period of which was between 1560 to 1630, 70 years. It's estimated that around 80,000 people were killed during this dark period in history, with the vast majority of them being women. And perhaps unsurprisingly, given the country's continued commitment to being on the wrong side of history, the majority of those executions were in Germany. But in Scotland, they experienced their own frenzy, prompted by the paranoia of Scottish King James VI, who believed a fierce storm during his new wife's ocean transit from Denmark was caused by the work of witches. His obsession was so great that he wrote a book on witch hunting called Demonology, and you might recognise him from his other commissioned work, the King James Bible, which can be found in the drawers of many motels across the world. Under the direction of James VI and with the support of England's Witchcraft Act of 1541, which defined witchcraft as a felony punishable by death, an estimated 1,500 to 2,500 people in Scotland were executed as witches, again the vast majority of them women. The main method of execution involved strangling, then burning them. And many more were accused and tortured, enabled by the Pope's decree that witchcraft was considered crimen exceptum, a crime apart, and therefore not subject to normal laws around human torture. Very few people protested, I'm sure partly out of fear, but perhaps mostly out of the selfish human instinct that if one sides with the enforcer, they can be spared the boot. What they did often do was gather to watch the executions, as people did across Europe also, and as many people in the illegal state of Israel are doing now. In addition to watching the murder of innocent people, they were occasionally also able to witness the punishment of their children. The Italian scholar Silvia Federici writes, one method used to punish the accused was to tether their daughters in front of the murder of their mothers and whip them while they watched her burn. It was seen as a deterrent not just for them, but for anyone else who might be watching. Not unlike the imprisonment of children in the illegal state of Israel without charge or trial. And all of this continued until a new Witchcraft Act was passed in 1735 that stated it was a crime to accuse someone of witchcraft or of having magical powers, with the punishment of a maximum sentence of a year in prison. They got it wrong, no big deal. Now, one of the other drivers of the witch trials, at least in England, was something called the enclosures. Basically, the aristocracy, which included the Catholic Church, had always gobbled up the resources of the land and exploited the labour of the common people. Once upon a time, the common folk had at least been able to live on common land, working together and operating communally with, yes, the little they had, but also no monthly rent to pay. But that wasn't enough for an aristocracy creating a new society under capitalism, and who began to realise the value of the common land that the peasantry was given permission to live on while they laboured for the king. If the nobility took the land, or the gas, they could turn it into smaller plots and make more money from it. Progress! And who cared about the peasants, the oldest and or poorest of them, who had nowhere to go? Between 1604 and 1914, over 5,200 individual enclosure acts were legally put in place, sectioning off almost 7 million acres of previously commonly held land, and funneling its resources and wealth capital back into what we know today as the 1%. And of course, it wasn't just on its own land that the English Empire was doing this. We are standing here on stolen land that has still never been ceded, and in which the most fervently Zionist of political leaders refuse to acknowledge the sovereignty of First Nations people and disrespect the rightful flag of this country. When land is valuable, the well-being of its custodians is seen as insignificant by those who wish to steal it for themselves. So it's starting to sound a little familiar, yes? Where do these laws come from? The laws that give permission to murder people under accusations of consorting with the devil, while also conveniently eradicating a population, in the case of witches, older women past reproductive age and with diminished physical capacity for farming, whose existence wasn't seen as valuable. The laws that allowed for the creation of landlords, making what is a fundamental human right, the right to live without fear that shelter and safety will be removed or bombed. Now something we accept as something we must pay for. The fabricated laws that allow for the theft of entire countries due to the greedy colonialist whims of white supremacists, and that we now see extrapolated before us in the same public executions, the same burnings, the same tortures that we also reflect on as an example of the horrors of history. The laws that may soon enough declare it to be illegal to even criticize the illegal state of Israel, that has already made it illegal to expose the duplicitous, punitive intentions of secret groups working together to harm the livelihoods of Palestinian and pro-Palestinian activists. Fierce warriors like Randa Abdel-Fattah, Sarah Saleh, and our beloved Nasser Mashni. The bitter pill of those witch trials was not that the law decided to officially declare it illegal to accuse someone of witchcraft, but that those responsible for murdering thousands in the name of crushing it were never brought to justice. Arrest Biden and Netanyahu now, and Albanese. And despite the modern movement in Scotland to officially pardon those accused and executed as witches, it remains to be done. But does it matter all of these years later? Of course it does. Because as Natalie Dawn, author of the bill, says, we need to put a marker in history that we here today say no, that this is and was wrong. And that is so true for this moment now, as people willingly turn their eyes away from what is happening so clearly in front of us. The slaughter of an entire people for the intention of stealing their land for its resources and propping up white supremacy across the world. And the myth of Western civilization. As Natalie Dawn says, in 2,000, 3,000 years' time from now, people will speak about this period as the 16th to the 21st century, as if it's one blob of time. And if we do nothing to challenge injustice, how is the future to know the difference? The irony is that today most people don't believe in magic, even though it's around us all the time. It's here with us now in the movement to free Palestine. It lives on in the words of Rafat. It moves through the activism of Bisan. It's in the photographs of Motaz. Rallying cries that draw more and more people to the magic of this movement. It's in every one of us here today, in the ritual chants of Free, Free Palestine.
Free, free Palestine.
And from the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
Because every time we say it, we believe more and more that it will come true. We know more and more that we will see it. That is the power of magic, which has always been the collective power of the people. I want to leave you just with the words, given that I'm speaking in my lane, of a land activist in England who was part of a collective of people fighting against ongoing enclosures, which still happen today and still deny freedom to the working class. What is a law but a sequence of words under whose spell we are all beguiled? The only law that matters is the will of the people. And we say, Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
And fuck Israel!
Fuck Israel!
Thank you.
Clementine for it, everybody! From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
Absolutely, my friends. Absolutely believe there is magic here. There is magic here. There's magic in our movement. There's magic in our solidarity. There's magic in our resistance. That's what we keep showing up for. Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
My friends, a reminder, it's a designated zone today, so you need to be careful. Listen to police, yeah? Don't get sucked in by Zionist agitators. If there's one amongst you, just reach out to a marshal, even point them out to a police officer. Don't get sucked in. That's their job, to create the media story that criminalises us. As Clementine was saying, there is a move to criminalise us because they know our power. They know that 434 days later, 62 weeks later, that the people are still coming out because they fear the people united. Because the people united. And if you want to see it any other way, you can get that Israel firster, Zionist apologist, anti-Semitism envoy, Jill Seagull, as she's decided that she's had enough. She's decided she's had enough and she wants special places for us to protest in because we've morphed into something more sinister. Change. And in today's paper we read that the government is proposing changes to include new police powers to combat protests where extremism and religious hatred are being spread. Change. The extremism and religious hatred exist in Zionist rallies, in Israel First rallies. They don't exist here. They don't exist here because we, as I've said a million times, are a movement of love, of inclusion, of belonging for everyone. For everyone. And if there's any hate in you, you don't belong here. If there's any hate in you, you can piss off! Piss off! If there's any hate in you, you can piss off. Indeed, my friends, there'll be laws about face masks, about signs, about where we might protest, but stay strong, my friends. It is the responsibility of citizens within a democracy to protest, to fight for our rights. It's a fundamental right and necessary. Without protests, workers would be going into mines with canaries and told, when the canaries stop singing, run. Without protests, women wouldn't be voting. Without protests, employers would be not giving people holidays. They would be making them work in extreme weather, in unsafe conditions. Without protests, we would not be able to live as we wish. Even though it's not where we want it to be, it's still better than where it would be, which is why it's so important we continue to show up, not just for Palestine, as I said, but our black brothers and sisters, for everyone fighting for justice. Remember, my friends, most Zionists are not Jewish. Most Zionists are not Jewish. And a shitload of Jews are not Zionists too. And if you're a Zionist, If you're a Zionist and you believe the annihilation of the Palestinian people is okay, if you believe the occupation of the Palestinian people is okay, if you believe the oppression and dehumanization of the Palestinians is okay, if you believe wreaking havoc in Syria, Yemen, Lebanon is okay, and you've got a problem with our words saying it's not okay, that's on you. That's on you because you're the racist, you're hate-filled, you're the enemy of humanity, not us. In our world, you get to live equally. In your world, you get to kick the shit out of us every day. That's the wrong world. We don't want to live in that world, and we'll continue to fight against it, my friends. We'll continue to fight against it. So keep yelling and screaming against everyone. And a reminder, when they roll out all of the lies about Israel being a democracy and Israel being queer-friendly and Israel being green and Israel being, this wonderful bastion of the world, you know the truth. It's none of those things. It's a racist, apartheid, genocidal state, and no state has the right to exist. Not this one, not that one, not anyone. Least of all, states that are genocidal and racist and apartheid have no right. Human beings have rights, brothers, sisters, siblings. You have rights, not states. You have rights, not states. A reminder, nothing ever came. No one ever ceded power voluntarily. America wasn't desegregated. South Africa, apartheid didn't end there on its own. Algeria wasn't liberated from the French settler colony. Syria wasn't freed from the Assad regime, just because somebody felt like they wanted to do a good thing. Justice is always won. Justice is fought for. Justice comes when, at the end of a liberation movement, succeeds. So fight on, get out, get loud and proud for Palestine. Don't give up, don't get sucked into some Zionist thing that we're not achieving anything, because we are. Know this absolutely, whether it's the MOU being cancelled with Elbit Systems or the Israeli government. It's that crazy nutjob. And just as a marketing ploy for Zionists, if you're watching this, I'm sure you are, if you're going to pin your badge on for someone, Ayed Shaked, that Zionist minister that said Palestinian children are snakes, that Palestinian students are snakes, that we need to be murdering Palestinian mums before they give birth to snakes. If you're going to pin your Zionist sticker on someone, pick a better poster child. Pick a better poster child. When her visa gets cancelled, when a couple of genocideers that have just served in the IOF, the Israeli Occupation Forces, the Israeli Genocide Forces, were denied a visa because they had to fill in a form that said, have you participated in a genocide? Have you committed war crimes? Have you arrested children? And they couldn't fill in that form, and they were denied the opportunity to come to Australia. That's a good thing. We don't want them here on holiday. We don't want them here migrating. We don't want them here as citizens. And if any citizen from Australia has fought in that army, we need the government and this police to know who they are so they're ready to prosecute them for the war crimes they've committed. They need to be prosecuted for the war crimes they've committed. If you want to police something, police that! Don't police our movement of love. And if you want to talk about social cohesion, social cohesion looks like equality. It looks like when everybody is treated the same. It's not the opera house being lit up. It's not 2 visits from our Premier, our Prime Minister, even Rupert Murdoch. They got him out of his crib, wheeled him out to the synagogue in the daylight, so I don't know how they did that. They took him there. Andrew Bolt, the Minister of Social Cohesion, convicted racist Andrew Bolt. They even took Andrew Bolt down to the synagogue. Social cohesion is when everyone is treated the same, not one set of laws made to criminalise some, not policing meant to over-police some, not the exclusion of some, not the elevation of one level of racism over another. And if you watch that Jill Seagull interview, you'll see the disdain she has for the anti-Islamophobia envoy, because anti-Semitism is something special. Let me tell you something, Jill Seagull, let me tell you something. All hate is the same. The fight against hate is something we need to do together. There is no exceptionalism in hate. Exactly. And if this country with the blood on its hands, with the butcher's apron on its flag, if this country wanted to appoint an envoy for racism, the first thing it should do is appoint one for our black siblings, not for anti-Semitism. Shame on them, shame. But we'll keep fighting, brothers and sisters, from the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
Okay, don't forget it's a designated zone. The police can ask you to remove your march. They might ask to search you. Comply, don't resist. We're going to have a quick short march and back here. Down Lonsdale, Elizabeth and Latrobe. Thank everyone, let's start marching. From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
Free, free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
And a big round of applause for Clementine Ford again. And all our speakers, but especially Clementine and Portland beloved. We love Clem. Free, free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
One! Two!
We won't be silent!
Three!
Stop the bombing!
Now! One!
We are the people!
Two!
We won't be silent!
Three!
Stop the bombing!
Now! One!
We are the people!
Two!
We won't be silent!
Three!
Stop the bombing!
Now! Thank you everyone, we'll see you back here in a bit!
They have the right to ask you to remove your mask. And if you disagree, you have to leave the designated zone. Or they can issue it's up to them. So I'm not quite sure why it's been designated zone, but I think there's a protest over there somewhere.
There is. I filmed them. I got off the replacement bus. There was an Aboriginal flag, a lot of Australian flags, a lot of Israeli flags, maybe one Portuguese flag, and a guy wearing a sign saying it was enough.
So they've got the right to search you.
We've got mounted police in it as well.
ABC Journo, and he was with them.
Genocide.
We charge you with genocide.
Genocide.
Genocide is 48.
Genocide is 48.
Genocide is 48.
Genocide is 48.
Israelis are terrorist state.
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 Yes to free war.
Palestine will be free. All the chaos will fall. All the chiefs will fall. All the oppressed people will rise up. Because we are very many more of us than them. There are very many more of us than them. There are many, many more of us than them. There are many, many more. And many more. Many, many more of us than them. There are many, many more of us than them. There are many, many more of us than them. There are many, many more. Many, many more. Many, many more of us than them. There are many, many more of us than them. There are many, many more of us than them. There are many, many more. Many, many more. Many, many more of us than them. It's too hot, yeah? No! Gargenti, no! The people in Gaza, they don't have one drop of water! We want the Netanyahu to listen your voice! And we're gonna say one, we're gonna say around the people! We're gonna say good! What you gonna say?
I don't know.
Any dancing this weekend?
I don't want to. Otherwise, I'd come to
What is it, Friday?
I want everyone to count it up. All Zionists are terrorists. 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 One more. All Zionists are terrorists.
I was.
Palestine.
Palestine will
Long live Intifada!
You want me to go loud on this one?
Hey, a big round of applause for HL.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
A famous line by David Ben Gurion. He said, "The old would die and the young would forget." I think Asia has proved that the young haven't forgotten. They've got stronger and learned Asia! Well done everyone for coming out today in the heat. Thank you so very much. A brilliant rally. Thank you everyone for everything you do. You need to know, I've got asked again, I get asked probably 50 times a week how I'm doing. Well, I can tell you that coming out here, coming out amongst you all, lifts me for another week. Because rain, hail or shine, we march for Palestine.